What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I wanted to get to this. I've actually been a little bit, annoyed around draft time because there's some players that the draft stock keeps falling for whatever reason. And, that guy's Derek Stingley Jr. I just want to put it all to rest, all the crap around this. Derek Stingley's the best cornerback in this draft. It's not even close. I have no idea what, Todd McShay comes on ESPN and he's just like spieling all this stuff. He didn't play with the same edge and all this crap. But you watch Derek Stingley Jr. all starts in 2019. Going against guys like Van Jefferson, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, he's facing all the best. There's clips of him shutting down Jamar Chase in practice. I mean, who can stay in Jamar Chase's hip pocket in the NFL? Nobody can. Derek Stingley's doing stuff like this. I mean, you watch the Vanderbilt game in 2019. I mean, he's playing off and still has the recovery to break on a short out route. I mean, that is just ridiculous recovery speed. It's rumored that he runs a 4.3. That's what he plays like. Plays like a 4.3. In high school, 42-inch vertical was just, absolutely absurd. Bursts onto the scene against Texas in 2019. He's covering Colin Johnson. Johnson's a guy that ends up in the NFL, not a star in the NFL. But point being, he was a very good receiver at the University of Texas, and all he does is just make plays all game. You watch the Auburn game in 2019, he's locking up Seth Williams. I don't even know why they continued to throw the ball that way. You're really just playing with fire at that point. First 3 games of the year, two of the opponents, it was Northwestern State, Northeastern State, something like that. They're trying to throw at Stingley, test this freshman, and that was just, that got nowhere. I think he had one catch. The Northwestern receiver was, had a quick slant, and Stingley was, had his arm right in there, and the kid barely wrapped it up and came down with it. But, yeah, I mean, that just, and Utah State had an interception. They kept testing Stingley, and I was just like, Stingley in his head has just got to be like, come on, man. I mean, it's too easy out here. They're really going to keep coming at me, but, doesn't get rattled. I think the true test to Derek Stingley's mentality came in the 2019 Florida game. They were picking on him all night, and I say picking on him all night because they were getting completions on him, but he was right in the hip pocket of Kyle Pitts. He's right in the hip pocket of Van Jefferson. Pitts, the story, best tight end prospect ever last year, had a very solid rookie season to start off, but he was, right in the hip pocket of Kyle Pitts, was not outclassed by Kyle Pitts in that game at all. And then Van Jefferson was making catches, but it was on back shoulder fades where Jefferson had to go down and scoop the ball. And, Stingley erased all yardage after the catch. That's how legitimate the dude's closing speed is. And his ability to turn his head is like nothing I've ever seen. So I'll go back to the Auburn game. So he played Seth Williams twice. 2019, he went against Seth Williams, did a tremendous job. 2020 also went against Seth Williams, did a good job in that game, actually forced a fumble. But if you look at 2019 against Seth Williams, he has a play where he turns around and gets his head, it's just stride for stride with him, turns all the way back around the other way and makes an interception on the ball. That was the play where it sealed it for me as Derek Stingley is the number 1 cornerback not in the country that year, and he would have been taken ahead of Jeff Okudah, who went number 3 to my Detroit Lions. If Derek Stingley would have been in that draft, I would have said, Detroit, take Derek Stingley with the number 3 pick. He's that good. Dave Aranda said he was the best defensive player on their defense prior to the 2019 season when he enrolled early and was practicing in bowl practice. And I lost my train of thought. But anyways, so the 19th season was just outstanding for Stingley. And let me see if there's anything I want to touch on from 19. But anyways, we can fast forward here. 2020, was just great in coverage. And it's one of those things where LSU, they play a lot of man-to-man. It's like, which is like, oh, is that just what they do? Yeah, it's not exactly just what they do. They do it because they trust studs like Derek Stingley to just go lock down that dude across from him for 4 quarters man-to-man, which is a lot harder, which is a lot easier said than done. And teams in 2020 just did not test him. You wonder, where's all the numbers? Where's all the interception passes defended? It's like Ramsey in college. Just because they don't throw the ball his way. These coaches aren't stupid. They know that Derek Stingley is a stud, man-to-man, off man. You just don't want to test this guy. And he wasn't even outclassed by Devontae Smith in 2019. I'll rewind to that. You know, man-to-man coverage, right in his hip pocket. You look over, he gave up a touchdown to him. Yeah, he gave up a touchdown late in the game when they desperately needed one. He dove when he should have just, closed and made a tackle, and there's another one he's looking over to the sideline. So he give up 2 touchdowns, but you got to understand the frickin' context of how he gave up the touchdowns. And before that, he was stride for stride with Devontae Smith. The stutter steps was normally fool people with Devontae Smith. Nothing. I just broke down Devontae Smith, comeback routes, all this stuff. He makes corners in the NFL look silly. Stingley was able to break right with it. If that doesn't say anything, then I don't know what does. And if you don't think Stingley is the best corner in this draft, after I just broke down that part of it, then I don't know what to tell you. He's way better than Sauce Gardner. Not to take anything away from Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, but Sauce Gardner is nowhere near the corner Derek Stingley Jr. is, and that'll be proven in the NFL. I guarantee it. It's the hype storyline. ESPN will feed you this garbage of Sauce Gardner hasn't gave up a touchdown in his college career. Sauce Gardner hasn't gave up a college career. Hasn't given up a touchdown in his college career. Derek Stingley, best corner in this draft, 2020, 2019. Go watch the tape of 2019. There's a video on YouTube that shows every target of 2019. It's absolutely unreal, and there's not a lot like it. But a last point I'll make on Derek Stingley Jr., and I think this is a strong one. So when I watch and I evaluate corners of what makes them great, I look at what do they make it look effortless. And if you look at Patrick Peterson back, we played at LSU in 2010, what was it, 08 through 2010, he could just play off. He trusted his recovery speed that much, and it looks so easy, making tackles, flying in coverage, and that's what you see with Derek Stingley. Not overly aggressive tackler. That's one negative, if anything, about Derek Stingley. Also in the Liz Frank injury that he suffered this year and just played, I think it was 3 games in 2021. But yeah, he makes it look effortlessly, and he can make tackles. Do not get fed that narrative that he doesn't want, that he can't make tackles, and that he can't come up at proper angles and make good plays in the run defense game. But Derek Stingley, best cornerback in the draft, and absolutely love this kid. Can't wait to see what he's going to do. If he falls to Atlanta, that's an absolute steal. If this kid falls out of the top 5 in the NFL draft, it's an absolute steal. We're going to be talking about it for a long time. Can you believe that team got Derek Stingley Jr. outside of the top 5 in the NFL draft? So I love Derek Stingley Jr. Didn't test at the combine, but he would have put on a show. I'm super confident of that. And yeah, so that's going to do it there, guys. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Till next time, peace.